You are listening to Science Coast with Mallory Havens and
Chris White.
And today our guests are
Carmen Arellano.
And Rapp.
Carmen, can you tell us what your role is?
Currently, I am the campus director at St. Augustine College. I'm also in charge of mission, identity, and lately student services.
And Anne, how about you?
I oversee graduate study and graduate policy and adult continuing education at Lewis.
So one of the exciting things that's happened here at LewisUniversity over the past year is our merger with St. Augustine College from Chicago. So today we're going to talk about that. So Carmen, can you tell us about St. Augustine?
Well, I can tell you I started at St. Augustine College as a student back in 1987, and I have never left. It became a home, and I learned to grow with the college, to learn from the college, and to grow with it. I'm very happy that now I continue to be that bridge for our students to be able to continue their education here at St. Augustine. I'm here at LewisUniversity.
Oh, it's
graduate.
Both. It's fine. So I think St. Augustine has a distinctive character, and even now that we are one institution, I think it's perfectly fine to talk about St. Augustine in a distinct way.
Okay.
Can you also let our audience know a little bit more about the audience, in some sense, the population that St. Augustine primarily serves?
Yes. At St. Augustine, we primarily serve bilingual. It's a bilingual institution, or at least that's how it started. Our founder, Dr. Carlos Plazas, he was originally a Catholic priest, but then when he married his wife, Blanquita Plazas, he became an Episcopalian, and they did wonderful work together because between the two of them, they founded St. Augustine College, and the belief that helping women begin their education in Spanish and slowly transition to an all-English environment was wonderful. Dr. Blanca Plazas, she is a school psychologist, and our founder, Dr. Carlos Plazas, is a clinical psychologist. So between the two of them, they did beautiful work, and we are here now with you. And I can say that back then in 1987, as a single mother, St. Augustine became my home. Primarily because St. Augustine had a daycare center. And it was the greatest thing ever for a working mom like myself to get out of work, to run to either grandma or to the daycare and pick up my daughter at 5 o'clock, 5:30, and run to St. Augustine College to begin my education, my classes at 6:30. And I did that for a good 2 years while I obtained my associate's degree. So my daughter grew up with me when she was 5, 6 years old. And then I also took classes on Saturday, and that was even more wonderful to have her with me all the time and to be able to have lunch with her because it was also my lunchtime. So that was the greatest gift for a working parent, to have a place where they can study, feel themselves, think of success, and have your child with you.
Was it all women initially?
No. As a matter of fact, when I started in 1987, it was mostly men. It was mostly guys because that was the rule back in 1987, that college was still primarily for males. But slowly, thanks again to Dr. Blanca Plazas and Dr. Carlos Gonzalez, they started to attract women. But when I started, it was mostly men. I remember taking classes where the majority were male students, and I was the female. And later, when I was teaching when did I start? I started teaching GED, and then slowly I became an adjunct faculty and then resident faculty. I remember in most of my ECE classes, psychology classes, such as child psychology, I did not have any men. Out of 33 students, 34, they were all female, and I was lucky to have one male. So it depends. I think at St. Augustine, CIS, administration, those careers still attract male. Nonetheless, we do have a lot of female students in our computer science CIS. ECE is our greatest program, and now we have a bachelor's, so that still continues to attract women majority where they can.
What's ECE? You said
ECE, early childhood
okay,
education.
got it.
Yeah. So with and it's a great program, or at least for our population. Many of our students with an associate's degree were able to open their own daycare center. I remember one of my students, she has 3 different daycare centers, and then she returned to St. Augustine College to obtain her bachelor's degree in psychology. And now I believe she has her master's degree.
Nice. It's a great opportunity for people. Do you still have a daycare?
No, thanks to COVID, that needed to close. Actually, that closed in 2019, I believe. And now, we have a lot of hybrid remote courses.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
So, Anne, as Vice Provost here at Lewis University for many years, you've been instrumental in helping, guide the integration of St. Augustine and Lewis. What were your thoughts as you began to learn more about St. Augustine and the mission that St. Augustine has?
Excitement. Just excitement. I mean, I feel like, having worked in adult ed for my whole career and providing pathways and access for adults to higher education, to be able to work with such an innovative institution. And for me, so far, it's been so much learning, so much, opportunity to learn about new ways things are being done in adult education, about pathways to adult education or to baccalaureate and associate's level education for immigrants, for even refugees, and just the population that St. Augustine serves, but also all of the professionals and academics at St. Augustine and their dedication to the work and learning about the mission. It's just, it's both credit and non-credit. So probably when I talk about St. Augustine, I may talk about the non-credit more simply because it's the thing that's newest to me. And so that I get really excited about learning new things.
What's the difference?
So at St. Augustine, there are really robust adult education programs that are, they are not credit, but they're not really pre-baccalaureate. Some are. So there is a really robust GED program, an ESL program that is funded through the Illinois Community College Board. And so essentially, St. Augustine offers the same kinds of adult education in that area that any community college would offer, except that St. Augustine offers fully online and also a unique approach to those courses as well as the exams that the students take in those areas. And I can go into detail if you want, but it's really exciting because they are able to have greater success than many of their peers in that area. So that's really exciting to me to be able to work with the professionals who are leading that program, learn from them, and learn about the approach and how it's innovative.
So at the end, is there an exam for a lot of these programs that's like state sponsored that you would say, okay, have the certificate, but you didn't earn college credit per se in the process of getting there? But really the test at the end is the important thing.
Right. So this is high school equivalency. Mm-hmm. And then English as a second language, both seen as pathways to employment, or upward mobility in terms of employment. And they don't test at the end. This is one of the innovations. They test they do a portion of the examination after each unit, because what happens is just at many of the community colleges, you would have like a 16-week long course, really intensive. And at the end, you have a test.
Yeah, that's intimidating.
It's intimidating and it's high stakes. why not take the subject area tests after you've completed the study in the subject area?
Yeah.
It sounds so logical. And yet, as far as I know, and I'm new to this field, St. Augustine is the only place that does that.
Did St. Augustine have to get special permission from the GED certification to break the test up?
I believe that they did. I'm not really sure at this point, but I'm thinking back in the 80s when I was teaching both GED in English and GED in Spanish, because I was able to do that.
Good distinction. They do both of those, at St. Augustine.
Doing that, especially for the citizenship exam, that was so difficult. We needed to concentrate and hopefully to get that out of the way. But definitely the change has brought our greatest profit now by being tested after each session instead of at the end of the 16 weeks trying to, cram everything in your mind and remember and notes, and especially for the working, the working student. This modality is working much, much best.
It's also fully online synchronous, so I'll translate my terms because I'm told I just take for granted the meaning of modality. So essentially, they are all remote. Students can be wherever they are in their lives, right? But they do have to tune in live for class. So and it's multiple days a week. This is really intensive study. If you think about, if you've taken a summer class in college and it's the May term and it's 4 weeks, right? You're going to class every day for an extended period of time. It's that kind of approach. And I'm so glad that Carmen brought up the fact that the high school equivalency is delivered in Spanish and in English, which is another just innovative way that St. Augustine is contributing to the community. Yeah.
So Carmen, you've been at St. Augustine, affiliated with St. Augustine for over 30 years.
Yes.
And now that LewisUniversity and St. Augustine have joined forces, what's your hope and vision for what St. Augustine will achieve in the future?
Oh, just a greater success for our students. I can just see one of our logos, if I can say, has been a bridge. And we started that because we had a very small, back when we started in 85, 87, we had an old building. And then we were able to buy a warehouse, which is right next to it. And we built a little bridge between the two buildings, which is also part of the entrance to the parking lot. So that was our first bridge to a new building, which also models a student who has to cross a bridge to a new language, a new culture, a new type of social economic status. So bridges for us, and I'm speaking as an immigrant, bridges mean a lot for us. And now here we are with a greater bridge all the way from Argyle to Romeoville. So I don't know how we're going to build that bridge, but this is another bridge that we have to cross for success.
Anne, what are your hopes and vision?
Oh, gosh. I have a lot of hopes and vision. Mostly they center around what we'll be able to do as we build programs together, right? So Lewis has experience in certain areas and strong programs in certain areas, and St. Augustine has expertise and strong programs. And then what happens when we bring our expertise together and build programs that we wouldn't have been able to do if we hadn't come together, right? So I think one of the things that I'm excited about that I hope happens, and I know we're talking about it, is aviation maintenance, for instance. What if we have, I'm assuming, and you would know better than me, Chris, the first bilingual aviation maintenance program in the United States?
I hear there's one in Puerto Rico. How about mainland?
Mainland U.S. Yes. Mainland U.S. Okay, I'll take that. I'll take that correction. But would not that be the coolest thing? One of the coolest things. So that's just one of the things. The other thing just one more example. So it's both Lewis to St. Augustine and St. Augustine to Lewis, right? So St. Augustine, in addition to ECE in terms of biggest programs, respiratory therapy, huge program, so much need throughout the Chicagoland area, and so much interest in the work and in learning to become a licensed respiratory therapist. We're talking about, what does a baccalaureate look like? And if we, bring our knowledge of health sciences together with St. Augustine's knowledge of health sciences, what does that look like, right? So it's very much cross-fertilization.
Just yesterday, can I interrupt?
Yeah.
Just yesterday, a student of mine came to register for her bachelor's in psychology. She got her associate's, and she was so excited. And she came back. She wants to finish her bachelor's because now she knows that she can continue with her master's. And she's a student who's very committed with the community right now. She works with the immigrant population. She volunteers in shelters. She's a great student. She wants to come back because she wants to continue at Lewis. So that was great. And it was just yesterday. That she's coming back. And I also wanted to say that one of my other responsibilities is alumni, to attract alumni who left St. Augustine College with an associate's degree because we did not have bachelor's, and are slowly returning to complete their bachelor's degree. And now we can say, here's Lewis as well.
It's really exciting. It's a very exciting time and a lot of opportunity. And with that, the views, thoughts, and opinions expressed are the speaker's own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of Lewis University. The material and information presented here is for general information purposes only. The Lewis University name and all forms and abbreviations are the property of its owner, and its use does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific organization, product, or service. This podcast was produced in the WLRA podcast studios at Lewis University. Visit lewisu.edu for more information about Lewis University. This has been Science Coast with Mallory Havens and
Chris White.
And
Carmen Arellano.
And Rapp.
Thanks.